This is Partners in Crime with Adam Croft and Robert Dawes.
Happy Friday, Bob.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very nice to be back.
Yes, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
We had a lovely time with Rachel Amphlett.
Well, of course you would.
In your absence.
Of course you would. And thank you, Rachel. You were absolutely wonderful, I have to say. And it was a great show. And I'm sure you'll be back very shortly with my timetable over the next few months. But anyway, thank you very much. The wonderful Rachel Amphlett, and I'm going to be mentioning a certain book by that author a little later on.
You've been very busy with filming as well, haven't you? You're doing a bit of crime stuff coming up. I don't know if you're allowed to mention it or not. I'll put you on the spot now.
Well, I don't know. Probably not.
Better not. Anyway, we'll leave that.
Well, yes, I'm starting a crime thriller that's on TV, but I'll be able to tell you that a little later on, which is quite exciting. Some very nice people and an intriguing plot, I have to say.
Yeah, I was just talking to you actually before the show as well, saying that on, as this is Friday, let's pretend it's Friday.
Okay.
I will be, shortly after this recording, heading down to Southend to watch a production of one of my own plays this evening.
I thought it was a pilgrimage to my birthplace, Southend-on-Sea, on the Thames Estuary. I thought you were going to have some cockles and walk the pier and all that.
Walk the plank, maybe, depending on how good the play is.
He's not. The Bard is going to the Palace Theatre, Westcliff, to see a performance of his full-length play, Curtain Up, which runs from Thursday to Saturday, does it?
It started on Wednesday, and runs to Saturday as a Saturday matinee. So if you're listening to this on the Friday, you can go to it on Friday night when I'll be there. Saturday matinee or Saturday night will be the performances left. So
well, it's a wonderful theatre, beautiful Edwardian theatre, and it's going to be a great play. And you get the chance to see where I began my professional career, playing the back end of the pantomime camel.
And I've never seen one of my plays performed before. They've been done all over the country, and even in Australia and Canada. I've never actually been to see one. Well,
it's a perfect theatre to see your first play, because it really is, the classic Edwardian, beautiful curtain, lovely plush seats. It's a great auditorium. So I mean, it'll be absolutely smashing. That's Curtain Up at the Westcliff Palace Theatre.
Yeah, I don't know whether to email them and let them know that I'm coming or not.
Oh, you've got to do that. You've got to let them know you come.
The cast want to know the writers there.
Well, I always like to know who's in. People say, "Oh no, don't tell me." But it's much worse when you come off and you discover someone has come in. You went, "Oh, I wish I'd known." So you can't please actors. No. But anyway, you'll have a splendid time down there.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
take a look at the pier and have a stroll along the cliffs and and have a Ross's ice cream at 99. It's the best ice cream in the world.
I will. Yeah, have some dinner on the seafront.
Pop into Jamie Oliver's mum and dad's cafe down along the seafront.
Yeah,
be lovely.
That one hasn't gone bust yet, then?
No, certainly not gone bust. Absolutely. No, goes from strength to strength.
They're better at running restaurants than their son, then.
Well, I don't know. He's got one at the end of the pier. He films his Channel 4 television programme at the end of Southend Pier.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, he's responsible for bringing people like Danny DeVito to Southend Pier, and goodness knows how many other. Reese Witherspoon, I think, was even there, and most extraordinary Joanna Lumley and whatever. Great show, but I'm sure Curtain Up would be just as good in its own way.
Get your tickets now if you're in the Southend area.
Yeah.
Yes, but what have you been doing while you've had your time off? You must have been doing some reading, some watching.
Yes, I have. Well, I've been doing some watching and some reading. As I say, I'm going to talk about Rachel Ampflett's latest book, which is terrific. And I know that's a bit in, listeners, but there we are. A little bit of nepotism is totally justified when it's of the quality of Rachel's writing.
That's her payment for presenting last week.
Yeah, well, it's an easy shout out, I can tell you. The first one is I was drawn because I had my son and my daughters obviously around at the weekend, and we thought, what shall we watch? And Netflix have been pushing this new film, Murder Mystery, starring Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. And it was Sunday around about 6 o'clock, and we thought, well, yeah, okay, let's give it a go. I thought it's a murder mystery. So we watched that. And it was... Was it a comedy? Was it a murder mystery? Yes, it was both. Was it a successful comedy? At times. Was it a successful murder mystery? Possibly not. But what it was quite entertaining. It certainly doesn't push the boat out or make a big impact as a film as possibly you'd expect. But there's very jolly banter from Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston, and an intriguing sort of ridiculous plot as you've come to expect. It doesn't know whether to spoof or to just sort of gently scent up. The whole thing has got its tongue very firmly in its cheek, and it's got a terrific cast. It's got John Carney in it, Gemma Arterton being wonderfully arch and glamorous.
I'm convinced.
And one of my favourite actors at the moment, Adil Akhtar, who's in an awful lot of things and is always incredibly different and incredibly entertaining. He's in it. You've got Shioli Kutsana, and I tell you, a lovely performance. Danny Boone as sardonic Inspector Delacroix. So I thought really Peter Sellers had done the last word on French inspectors, but he does a very, very good French inspector, and very amusing. So a Digital Spy says perhaps the argument is that the murder mystery is a little banal, but sometimes you just tune in and switch off. Sometimes you want a little stick of chewing gum for the mind, not to frantically pore over plot holes and Easter eggs. And that's exactly what the film offers. And as I said, the ensemble cast is extraordinarily good. And really, from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, it's floated over me very gently and very sweetly, and prepared me for the thrills, spills, twists, turns, and torturous detective work of Fiona Bruce and the BBC's Antiques Roadshow at 8 o'clock.
While we're on the subjects of TV and watching, in the show notes that have been prepared for us here by the inimitable Moriarty, she has put this in here, a bit of text that says, "We interrupt the show for a broadcast message from Moriarty. Moriarty requests, no, demands, everyone stops what they're doing and watches Killing Eve Series 2. She goes on to say, Emerald Fennell wrote season 2 of Killing Eve, and oh, sweet, sweet mother of all things glorious villainy. Villanelle is seriously the most exquisite villain ever. I spend every episode squealing about how well she's written and how well she's acted. I have to say, I think Series 2 is better than the first, and I've now bought one of Emerald's books called Monsters, if you're interested."
Well, that's a strong recommendation. Now, I'm not up to scratch with that. I can't believe.
Have you not watched Killing Eve?
I watched the first series, and I thought it was the most extraordinary. I absolutely loved it. We bantered on about it for weeks, I seem to recall. Yeah. I mean, it was up there with Spiral and...
slightly cheaper, though.
Slightly cheaper, but yeah, it was absolutely great. So I'm saving it so I can actually have a real binge on it, which I'm looking forward to. So thank you, Moriarty,
That is the problem, watching them and then having to wait a week for the next one. That is the issue.
Well, yeah, but some people still like that. There's that sense of... And Amy's my wife's a bit like that. She wants to watch it live, she says. I've said this before.
Has no one told her?
Actually live. Yeah. It is a recording that's going out. And she says, no, I don't mean that. I like to watch it when other people are watching it. And I say, that's such an old-fashioned concept, really. But I know what she means. It's that old thing of the whole nation sitting around watching Morecambe and Wise on a Christmas Day evening. I mean, it's that sort of thing. And I don't think it ever really leaves you. I mean, it's not the way we conduct our lives now, thank goodness, because we can watch what we want whenever we want to watch it. But I know what Amy means.
Look at you calling someone else old-fashioned.
Oh, sweet child. Anyway, so after you.
No, I was going to say on TV. I see what you got in front of you.
I have, and I know you've watched this, haven't you?
I have. We mentioned it briefly last week, actually, with Rachel.
Oh, what?
And yes, I pointed out that we'd had a chat at the birthday barbecue, and that your views were perhaps slightly more mixed.
Well, not anymore. I mean,
really?
What are we doing talking about Chernobyl for the second time? Does it come under the broad church of crime fiction? Well,
there was a trial at the end.
There was definitely a trial at the end. I thought it was an extraordinary piece of television.
We did convince you. Good.
Yes, I mean, after the first one, I wasn't sure about the first episode. I thought, this is where it's going. And then, it's just a horrific tale. But so if you haven't seen it, I I really think you should, and I think generations should see it. I mean, I think it's the sort of thing that should be shown in schools and colleges throughout out the world. And is it a crime? You bet it is. I mean, and a world crime. I mean, the fact that it actually happened, that Chernobyl, the core exploded, it was a crime of neglect and hubris and political and greed and so many other things, and the cover-up, but equally so. But it doesn't flinch from telling the story, does it? And I have to say, the performances by everyone. I mean, Jared Harris as Valery Lagasov, the deputy director, the scientist who comes in to try bravely. He and Stellan Skarsgård, who plays Boris Sherbina, the Council of Ministers deputy chairman, the two of them who go in to try and sort this just appalling, cataclysmic disaster out. They give extraordinary performances, as does everyone, and it just tells a very important story. And it tells a story about how mankind just gets it wrong, and political decisions and patriotic decisions and decisions of greed can lead to could possibly lead to the end of the world, because if you actually took this story and took it on a larger scale, you just think, well, mankind wouldn't stand a chance. This was just one nuclear reactor exploding, and the effect it had on the rest of the world. I mean, the people are still suffering from cancers that are directly linked to the nuclear spill out.
There's a whole area that's going to be completely uninhabitable for the next 20,000 years.
But it's extraordinary, and it was wonderfully dramatised by Craig Mazin and directed by Johan Renck. It's an HBO Sky UK production, and everyone should see it. I really think the makeup department is superb. I mean, it's quite very hard to look at in places. My only criticism was I thought there were a few too many moustaches on the men. I know it was a period thing, but it's one of the toughest things to get right, I think, in makeup. That the sort of moustache, they had about 25 different moustaches.
It was Russia in the 1980s.
Exactly, exactly. But when it got into the actual makeup and prosthetics used to show the sufferers of this disaster, it was, I mean, it's terrifying. Any images that you never really want to see again, and your compassion for the people who did suffer is immense. It's fantastic, and one of my best lines, which I will paraphrase, was in the trial at the end, where Valery Lagasov sums it up extraordinary, and I do paraphrase this, and it sums up the whole background and the cover-up to Chernobyl. He says something along the lines of, each lie owes a debt to the truth, and the truth always calls those debts in. And that's exactly what happened at Chernobyl. There were lies after lies after lies after lies, owing a debt to the truth, and eventually the truth said, no, the truth must come out, and it did. So anyway, that's not really under the banner of crime fiction, but we're squeezing it in because I think it's an important and, as I say, world crime that needs to be understood by not only ourselves but future generations.
I think when you said everybody needs to see it, that's not just in the sense that it's a bloody good series. It's in the sense that everybody needs to see it.
Yes, quite right.
It's as a human story, and as a tale for mankind, and as a warning to future generations. Everybody needs to see it. We're not saying that as a recommendation. It as you say, it should be on the syllabus. It's part of your civic duty as a citizen of the world, I think, to watch Chernobyl.
Well, I thought I knew the story of Chernobyl, and I knew only part of it, I have to say. I'm ashamed to say, but you'll know the lot after seeing this, and it's brilliantly done. Brilliantly done.
Well, I would say on to happier subjects, but I saw in the news recently that Anthony Price, unfortunately, crime writer and reviewer, has died. He wrote, I think, mainly the 70s and 80s. I think he then retired from writing crime. He won the Crime Writers Association Silver Dagger Award. He wrote 19 novels. So, very highly respected reporter, reviewer, of crime fiction. I remember reading the way he got into writing crime was that he was, as one of the most highly respected reviewers of it, was asked in the late 60s to write a guide, I suppose, what's the word I'm looking for? An encyclopedia of crime fiction and a history of the genre. And he said, no, that would require too much work. But here's a novel I've written. Would you like to publish that? That's a very loud lorry outside my window.
Well, it is. But I just say
the dustmen have come to pick up.
I quite like the ambient sounds that go on in this.
So the council have come to empty the bins.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
See, that's about as exciting as it gets down here.
Yeah, we should get them on and ask them what their favourite crime novels are. But there we are. Thank you to Central Bedfordshire Council for their appearance on this week's Partners in Crime. So yes, sad loss there to crime fiction with Anthony Price. What else do we have in the news? We had The Guardian have announced their best crime books for June.
Oh, right, okay. Warming up for the holiday period.
Yes, so they've done their review and roundup.
Oh, I can see Louise Candlish's name's there.
Yes,
that's off to a good start.
A new book by Louise Candlish, Those People. The rest of the list is The Van Apfel Girls Are Gone by Felicity McLean, The Whisper Man by Alex North, Your Truth or Mine by Tricia Sack-Laker. I hope I've said that right, probably not. Joe Country by Mick Herron.
Ooh.
And The Winker, careful how you say that, by Andrew Martin. So that's
a new Mick Herron book. Let me just.
Yeah, they've got a little bit of a write-up on all of them, really. It says about the Mick Herron one that says fast becoming the go-to author for British espionage and the sixth novel in his Slough House series.
What is the Slough House? It's fantastic, lovely.
It's up to his usual high standard. It says Andrew Martin's The Winker. Takes place at the beginning of the 1976 summer heatwave. Pint-sized psychopath and failed pop star Lee Jones picks people up in a pub and then dispatches them. I think that means murders. Your Truth or Mine by Tricia Sack-Laker, possibly. It says here, takes a microscope to the outwardly successful marriage of Mira and Roy Kapoor. The Whisper Man by Alex North is a police procedural with supernatural overtones. The Van Apfel Girls Are Gone by Felicity McLean says another middle-class suburb, this time on the outskirts of Sydney, is the setting for this book. And Louise Candlish's Those People is about nuisance neighbours. Apparently 60% of UK residents have suffered nuisance neighbours. And I've read quite a few books recently, psychological thrillers that have been about nuisance neighbours and about issues with people living near you. I suppose that's always that psychological thriller thing. It's domestic, isn't it? It's about how normal people's lives could easily be affected by anybody.
So are you saying that your next novel is about nuisance dustbin men?
I'm tempted. If they don't disappear fairly quickly, I think I've got a bit of a plot forming in my mind, yeah.
Well, that brings us very, very nicely on to our dear friend Rachel Amphlett, whose a new book, The Friend Who Lied, is out, and it's a cracker. And it says, what she doesn't know might kill her. Lisa Ashton receives a last-minute reprieve from death 2 weeks before her birthday. Regaining consciousness, she is horrified to learn one of her friends has been killed and saved her life. As she recovers, she uncovers a trail of carefully guarded reputations, disturbing rumours and lies. Soon, Lisa begins to wonder if one of her friends is hiding a terrible secret, because 5 of them entered the escape room that day, and only 4 got out alive. And someone is determined to cover their tracks before she can find out the truth. Can Lisa find the killer before someone else dies? The Friend Who Lied, a twisted psychological thriller from US Today bestseller Rachel Amphlett and Partners in Crime broadcaster. Perfect for fans of The Haunting Party by Lucy Foley and Friend Request by Laura Marshall. A terrific book, which of course you will be able to download on your electric gadgets very easily from...
Well, I'd personally recommend Kobo.
I caught him out there. He was away with the fairies.
You know what I was doing? I was trying to order Those People by Louise Candlish because it sounded brilliant. So I was actually on the Kobo trying to order that book. And,
The Bid Men by Adam
pre-order it. Yes. And you should do exactly the same.
What happens if you found a body in your green bin?
Oh no, you shouldn't put it in the green bin, should you?
Exactly, that's the whole conceit.
That's the recycling.
That's exactly what it is.
You might get away with a garden bin because most of it would be decomposable. You might get away with that.
He's off, listeners. That crime writer's mind already doing research for a book he's never going to write.
So yeah, if you want Those People by Louise Candish or any of the other books that we mentioned there, we probably should, I don't know if we're in a period of purdah, but we probably should give all due weight to the other books. The Manhattan Girls Are Gone by Felicity McLean, The Whisper Man by Alex North, Your Truth or Mine by Tricia Sacklaker or something approaching that pronunciation, Joe Country by Mick Herron, and The Winker by Andrew Martin. Or any other book you like, actually, if you head over to kobo.com. If you've not bought a book from them before, you can use the promo code CRIME at the checkout. They'll give you 90% off, and the promo code PARTNERS after that will give you a cool 40% off of your ebook purchases. The whistle is back. There we are. Well, yeah, that's my news, basically.
Is that you?
That's
okay, well, I've got one more recommendation on this beautiful Friday. And by one of my favourite authors, David Mark.
Lovely guy as well.
Yes, a lovely guy. Terrific. And it's his new novel, Cold Bones, which is the 8th Detective Sergeant McAvoy novel. And it starts off with this. It's the coldest winter in Hull for years.
That's going some as well.
Does that draw you in?
That is saying something.
If
wow.
you know the world of McAvoy, it certainly will. When McAvoy is told by a concerned stranger that an elderly woman hasn't been seen for a few days, he goes to check on her, only to find her in the bath, encased in ice. The heating off, the windows open, the whole house frozen over. It could be a macabre accident, but McAvoy senses murder. Someone watched her die. As he starts to uncover the victim's story and her connections to a lost fishing trawler, his boss Trish is half a world away, investigating a mysterious death in Iceland. Hull and Iceland have traditionally been united by fishing. In this case, they are linked by a secret concealed for half a century and a series of brutal killings that have never been connected. Until now, when the secrets of the dead have returned to prey on the living. Cold Bones, David Mark. Get it
on Kobo.
Yeah, I love David's writing. I mean, the detail, the character, the humour.
Yes,
is,
you can tell he's having a lot of fun writing it, can't you?
Yes, well, it certainly gives a lot of fun when you're reading it on many different levels. So yeah, there we are, the wonderful David Mark.
You should also look back for our episode where we interviewed him actually last year. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I seem to recall
very funny guy.
He was having a play put on in Hull. An adaptation. I wonder how that went. We must ask him. We must certainly ask him.
Very funny guy. One of my favourite episodes, actually, talking to David. I probably giggled like a bit of a fangirl, but there we go.
I've never seen you giggle like a bit of a fangirl.
Have you not?
No, I don't know whether I really want to see you do that. Certainly, I mean, it'd be quite interesting, especially with that beard.
That's true. Although there may be some fangirl giggling on because we may well have actually a rather big interview coming up on Partners in Crime, which I forgot to mention to you before the show, and we'll mention to you afterwards. Not booked in yet, but the request has come to us for a rather large name to appear on the show.
A long name or large name?
Both, actually. A bit of both.
Oh,
definitely instantly recognisable.
Oh, this is a mystery.
So,
I love that.
Hopefully we can get that booked in.
Oh, yeah.
And
well, I had a lovely night last night. I was mentioning to you, I was at a lovely party and bumped into an old friend of mine, the actor Philip Jackson, who many of you will know for his countless wonderful performances over the years, but crime lovers will know as Inspector from Poirot.
Chap.
Inspector Japp. I was just testing you. I did know that.
That does help that you told me before you started recording as well.
Yeah, yes.
That helps. I wouldn't have got it from the actor's name. I'm terrible with actors' names.
No, you're not.
Well, I know yours, but
well, even then you struggle occasionally. But no, we had a very entertaining conversation about my day job and also Poirot over the years. I said I've been down to Greenway.
Isn't this technically your day job? Because most of your stuff is like theatres and things in the evenings. So technically,
occasionally. I mean, later on in the year it will be an evening job, but mostly you're up at Sparrow's Fart, as they say, to go filming in makeup by 7 o'clock and on set by 8 o'clock, and off you go.
And they might start doing your scenes by 3.
And well, you understand my world exactly.
Yeah.
A heavy snooze in your 3-way, and looking forward to a fully catered location lunch. Yeah, it's not a bad life.
No, well, that's enough about 3-ways on set. Anyway, we'll leave that for another time. This is a family show.
Yes,
a family
after
show
all.
about death and destruction and murder.
Yes. Well, so what have you got planned now?
I'm off down to Southend. Well, I'm not, because it's not actually Friday. But as far as the listeners are concerned, I'm now on my way down to Southend.
About to jump in the Volvo and head down to the M25 across to the arterial road, as we call it, in Southend, and
keep the candy floss warm for me. I'm on my way.
Well, you should get down there a little earlier this afternoon, and visit Old Lee and have a plate of.
Looks like the weather's going to be nice.
A plate of cockles and prawns and half a shandy at the billet or the Peterboat, and look at the boats coming in from the estuary.
Oh, there's some good pubs then.
Some terrific pubs. I mean, the billet, the Peterboat are wonderful. There are a couple of others down there which are terrific too. The beaches, the ice creams, the seafood, the smell of the estuary.
Well,
the view of Canvey Island.
I didn't know there were pubs that were that good.
Oh yeah,
In that case,
well, I mean, it's an interesting area really, because you've got Southend, which is of course Slotties and the pier and the rides and traditionally all those sort of things. But it's a very modern town, and they've spent a lot of time along the seafront. They spent a lot of money making it look. I mean, it looks nothing like it was when I was growing up. And you've got the cliffs, and you've got the pier, of course, and you've got this wonderful view. You've got the estuary and this tide that goes out for miles, which is why Southend Pier is the longest pier in Europe by some considerable time, because it has to
and
get.
They put on some great plays as well.
They put on some great plays, especially during the summer months. I notice at the Palace Theatre, Westcliff Curtain,
mid-June's normally where they put their prime time stuff, isn't it? They're big hitters.
I would have thought so, but this isn't a crime fiction. This has nothing to do with crime fiction.
No. I hope not. I mean,
and I'm hoping the evening will not be a crime.
It could completely die on its backside. Yeah,
it's a farce. Adam's written a farce in his spare time.
I've written plenty of farces. It's just only one was intentional.
Oh, right. Oh well, I wish I was with you, because as I say, I've got very fond memories of that place, and it is my hometown.
Well, you can think of me while I'm in the pubs, which I've just discovered are very good.
Oh yeah.
And in that case, you can go and tell Mrs. C that she's driving.
Partners in Crime was presented by Adam Croft and Robert Dawes and produced by Adam Croft. The theme tune was by the Caesareans. The Partners in Crime logo and imagery were designed by Stuart Beisch. Partners in Crime is sponsored by Kobo, your favourite local bookshop, perfected.